Hi, I'm Pat Sloan. Welcome to my Fireside Chat. We're here in my studio, and if you've been watching for a while, I'm now on the reverse side of my big table. Generally, I have my Solaris here, but I have gone ahead and put it down. I'll do a little thing. See here? See this? Yes. So this actually lifts off, and the Solaris is underneath. So I put the Jubilant up on the tabletop because in this sort of second part of this fireside chat, I am going to sew on the layer cake quilt from the layer cake book, the one with the swell fabric. I thought I'd talk to you about how I'm processing those squares and what the thoughts are and where I'm going with that. So, and I'll do a little sewing. Also going to show you what was in the Sew Sampler box, a couple of a nifty tool, really super nifty tool, and I want to talk about sewing groups because we had a big discussion on the Facebook about sewing groups, and I thought it would make a fabulous discussion today. Now, first of all, I want to thank Sharon, who sent me some super awesome snacks. She sent me some cookies, and of course, cookies are all gone. The shipping department and I ate them. They were yummy. But here's this pretty fabric that she wrapped it in because you know a quilter, when they wrap your snacks in fabric, it has got like silvery stars on it. So pretty, so pretty. And I also want to show you something else that was sent. If you've been following along, I'm going to do a quilt in my mother-in-law Madge's memory, something for me to remember her by, you know, not memory clothing or things like that. I want to do a quilt that I'm going to do. It's English paper piecing, and it's going to take me probably a while to do. And I want to incorporate some things that she loved. And so I mentioned that she loved hummingbirds, and Roberta sent me some hummingbird fabrics. So I thought I'd just show you this here. Oh, yeah. So they're in here. Like here's one of the hummingbirds there in that fabric, and then oh, these are so pretty, like a coral. Yeah, there's the hummingbirds, and then here's some with a little bit bigger hummingbirds. So whoop, that way. So I'm just so excited to have these because I know I can incorporate them into this quilt somehow. The bigger one might have to go on the back. I think that would be perfect. But these ones, these are perfect. These are a perfect size because there'll be a lot of fussy cutting in that project. So I have a snack that I found. These are crazy. These little cups. Have you been finding? And everything's mini. Are you finding all the mini snacks out there right now? Mini. And these are called Go Packs. I suppose you're supposed to put them in your cup holder in your car. I don't know. Tell me what you think they're for. But the minis, and I have not had vanilla wafers in a long time, so I'm gonna have those after dinner tonight. So I want to show you what was in the Sew Sampler. Look what I got. This I got when I was out teaching at Baby Lock. Isn't that cool? It's one of these great insulated mugs. It's one of those brand names, Tervis. So if you like the insulated mugs, but I had to get it. It's Baby Lock Sew Fearlessly. I had a great time at Baby Lock. I was teaching dealers, so I was talking to people who are uber smart, and there are other educators, people who know the machines, but I was introducing them to my things, to my books, my fabric, and how I approach quilt making and teaching quilt making. So it was a little bit different twist for them because often they're there to actually learn how to do things on the machines so they can go back and do that training in their store. So it was a lot of fun to introduce them to my work. All right, I am so behind on looking at the Sew Sampler because of all the things going on, the travel and all of that. I haven't had a chance to open it, so let me get these are my little Olfa X-Acto knives. These are great if you don't have them. And I can open this up, and let's go down here and take a look and see, because as I told you before, I really do not look in these in advance because I don't know, it's more fun to do it on here. I'm sitting in the corner here, so I've got a little less table space. All right, so what do we have? Sparkle and Shine. Oh, there's a diamond. Ooh, fun. So what is in here? We got our little booklet that tells us what's in here. Every month you get that. All right, the little mini stash in stores. These are so useful. I cannot tell you how useful these are. The little minis, because if I have the bigger one, but I love this small size. They're the honeycomb. See, they push apart so that you can put your, like I can, here, let me push this back here. So like if I want to just stick the rotary cutter in there we go. Whoops, it goes better this way. There we go. So if I want to stick that rotary cutter in there while I'm working, I can do that. Or I can take the scissors. They're really sturdy, so they're not going to fall over. Okay, what else is in here? We've got, oh, a new cleaning kit. We can always use a cleaning kit, and I really am due to clean the Jubilant here. So it's got a little brush, a long brush. That is super nice. Look at that. It's got a long bristle on it. Oh, it's soft too. Yeah, that's nice. And then a little bit more like a paintbrush style, and then a cloth for their screens. All right, what else is in here? A beautiful, oh, this is Violet Crafts. I like Violet Crafts fabrics. So these are like a basic. So all these really pretty colors. And generally when they send you the box, they always send you a pattern. So hold on, I don't know what that is yet. So here's the pattern for using this fabric that came in the Sew Sampler. Now the Sew Samplers you have to sign up for now and get on the wait list because they're so popular, and they just felt like it was, they just put a limit on how many they do. There's a big limit, a lot of you get them. So there's that diamond pattern to use this, and plus we got Tearaway Maker Tape, all purpose for sewing, quilting, crafts, and hobby. Tears away in both directions. All right, so, oh, okay, so I'm looking on the back to see how they're using it. Here's a really cool way for a zipper to keep it in place while you're working, and then I guess you just pull it away. So if you've used that, tell me in the comments here while we're chatting. I'd like to know. And then there's a pattern that comes with this for a sew along that they do for the box. Okay, that's neat stuff. I'll put a link to everything. That little kit, that cleaning kit, that is super nice. I will link to that. Okay, two other finds that I have, and then we're going to talk layer cakes. So this one I saw online, and it's called Pin Place. So I'm going to take it out of the package. It is to stick on your machine, and then it's a magnet. So it has like a suction cup backing, which you're familiar with what those are. Here we go. Whoop. So here's the pin magnet. And so it has this suction cup on the back, and then this silver part is the magnet. And from what I understand, it is a pretty strong magnet. So if I wanted to put this here on the Jubilant, whoops. So I might have to, there we go. I've got it stuck there. Let me zoom in so you can see it. So if I have it stuck there, and I want to take my scissors, and these are decent sized scissor. Ooh, that's a pretty good magnet. So there I can put them right on there. If you're using smaller scissors, what's neat, I'm wondering, is if you've got pins, like you're working and you just have a few pins, like sometimes I don't use a lot of pins. I might only have a couple. This will be fabulous. Just to take a couple pins, and it doesn't bother your sewing machine. So I don't want to stack too many things. But I saw somebody put a great big scissor on there. But that's pretty nice. I like it for the pins. I think that would be really useful. Actually, this might be, but it might be too close for me on this one. On the Jubilant, doesn't have as big of a throat space as my Solaris. So I'm thinking pins are the way to go. So if I want to take a pin or two and just put it there and just keep using them, because I do that a lot. That is something, there you can see it. That's something I do a lot. All right, so that was a find that I saw on the internet, and I thought, you know what, that is pretty neat. That looks actually super useful. Then the other thing I got that it just cracks me up. And it cracks me up because you all will understand this. Being in my group, if you're new to my group, let me just tell you something after this, but if you're new to my group, I'll tell you about it. But here it says, if I have a seam ripper in my hand, now is not a good time. So you know, I think this is pretty funny, because in the group, remember we pretty much talk about Jack the seam ripper, which is a running joke, because if you have a date with Jack, that means you're ripping something out. And generally, even though I will tell you over and over and over again that part of sewing anything means unsewing sometimes. You cannot sew perfectly 100% of the time. It's just part of the process. Accepting that sometimes you have to remove some stitches, but sometimes it's frustrating because you're in a hurry, or maybe you have a lot of stitches to remove, so then it's not very fun at all. And this would be the time that you do not want people asking you for anything. Like, what's for dinner? Can I borrow the car? No would be the answer if you have Jack the seam ripper in your hand. I know that would be my case. I'd be like, no, we're not doing anything right now. We're ripping out stuff. It's not fun. So, if you're new here to my YouTube channel, click the subscribe. If you're watching this on Facebook, come over to YouTube and click the subscribe, because that will mean you will get an email notification or text message notification, however you are set up, whenever something new is going to come out. Then you have to also hit the subscribe. You have to hit the subscribe. Then you also have to hit the bell. And the bell is how you get the notifications. So you do subscribe, and then the bell will come up. If you're on an app, just scroll a little bit. You should see it. If you see the subscribe, you should see the bell. I mean, a lot of people are always telling me, I can't find it, I can't find it. Just calm your brain and look a little bit. It is there. On the apps, it's not as obvious as it is when you're on the web. Or just go to the web. If you're on a tablet, switch over to web version, not the app. And you can go to YouTube via the web that way. And it's very easy. It's right under the big banner on the right-hand side. So super easy. If you are looking at this, watching this via my website, I embedded into my website post for today, then I'll show it to you there too. So I'll show you a little picture. Okay, let's talk sewing. Last time I had my swell layer cake, which are these Santas and the super cute fabric, and I decided that because I just had to make something, because I love this fabric, and if I don't make it, that energy and that excitement for this fabric will disappear. And I decided I really just needed to make it. And I am using the Perfect 10 book and ruler, because I don't buy tons of rulers for fancy stuff, but sometimes it is easier just to have what's exactly made for the project. It's like the right tool for the job, and it makes it simple and fast. This is the book called Perfect 10 Quilts, and I'm doing the French vanilla. That is the one that I'm doing. So that quilt should be super fast. A couple of you wrote and said it's quick, it's easy. So what I did is, let's take a look here. I'll show you how I'm organizing this, because I think that is the key to doing this quickly. So when you cut everything up, you end up with the strips. There is the block. So it's four units with sashings, and I thought I could be able to cut 4 at a time of these. I think that would be easy to do. Cut 4 of them, and then step by. What I really want to do is stack them all. I want to make all of them. So here we need, what did it say? You're only using like 30 or something. And so I did not want to cut all of these, and I also don't want tons of them with the white background. So I basically went through and got a whole bunch of them with, I pulled out the ones with mostly the white background, but I left a few. So let's see how I would cut this again, because I want to cut 4 at a time, but I want to sort them. I want to sort them so that I don't have, I have them in the stack so that I can just reshuffle. So here is like the Santa, and then I did this with the little candy canes, and then the green background poinsettia and the plaid. This particular layer cake has a lot of the plaid, so that means I can sprinkle those around into each of the units, and so the plaids won't, I don't want two plaids in the same block, so I want to be sure that's all sorted. Now these are layer cakes, which means they are the exact size, and there are pinking edges, and for those of you who pinking edges make you crazy, please just relax and stop that. Just use them. Just stop worrying about them. The block size goes all the way out to the edge, so it's a 10-inch square, and when this lays on top, it's a 10-inch square. Where's my Olfa cutter over here? See, it's in the little stasher. And so I am going to be, whoops, I got my ruler your direction instead of my direction. Okay, had to flip it. I'm doing my first cut, which will come here. And then basically, I'm shuffling, following the diagram in the book, and doing the second cut along the bottom, which gives me everything I need. And these are nice, big units. There we go. So these are the 4 units. And then I have to shuffle them after this so that they don't all have the same, like I would put Santa on the bottom for this unit. And then Santa needs to go back 2 for this unit. So I'm going to take it, put it on the plaid. So now it's back 2. For this unit, Santa needs to go back just 1. So go back 1. And here he's on the top. And then I had to go and do the same thing for the other 3. Just reshuffle so that I end up with them a unique one of each on all the layers. After that, I will take this and put the stacks in here. And pretty much what I want to do tonight is cut all the rest of these so that this is done. And this container is holding these really nicely. It's got a ridge in here. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that thing there? It's a ridge, which, it's okay for certain things. It'll work for this. Once it's stacked in here, then I can go and sew like all of these, and then I could sew all of these, and then put them all to the middle, and then put them all to the middle, and the blocks will be done. There is also sashing them between the blocks. So when I'm going to sort these, let me just move this because that is perfect. I don't want to mess it up. But if I'm sorting these, I would want to take, and there's a lot of plaids, so I think I would go through and find all the plaids and just put them in the same pile so that I know, even though they're not identical, like here, see this, you can see those 2 plaids are different, but they're still plaid, and they're going to read like a plaid to me in my brain. So I want to be sure they're in different stacks. And the stacks have to have 4. So here's another plaid. So that's a lighter plaid still than this one. So they're 3 different plaids. So all the plaids are now together. And then what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to put all the green, anything that's green, like here's Santa, anything that reads green, because those are still, I only want 1 green one in each block, if that is possible. So I have all the green ones, and then from there I have pinks and reds and white, a few white backgrounds. I tried to keep it limited, but I had to have the Santas. They are the best. They remind me of when I was a kid so much. They're so darn cute. So here would be the reds and the pinks, right? Let me just check that last one. Yeah, there's the reds. So at this point, I would then make units of 4, which would mean I try to go just 1 green, 1 plaid, and then 1 of these. And we'll see how that works out. It might end up that some of the blocks have multiple greens, or might have to have a multiple plaid in one of the blocks, which is, that's fine. I could also switch it out. If I didn't really want that, I could switch it out, because I do have these still from there, which are, I have some more greens, I have another pink, and I have a lot of the light backgrounds. But because the sashing's light, I didn't really want to put the light backgrounds into this one. I think I'm going to put these on the back of the quilt. So this is how it's sorted to be ready for me later to put them together. And I will put this stuff back on the back side of my table. And let's talk about, let's sew. Let's talk about sewing. Did you see behind me? I have my Main Street done in the cheeky fabric. See it up there? That's that one. It needs a border on it, but I'm pretty happy to get it to that point. And the Main Street for the other fabric, the country store fabric, that's already done. That's the whole top's done. So I need to sew a backing, and then I'm sending it to the spa to be quilted because I'm not quilting them. Right now I'm doing too many other projects to get ready for the sew along, and then I have to get back to my book, and so I'm not going to quilt them. Although I'd really like to do one of them on a sashiko machine. So I might fire up the sashiko machine and maybe do this one. I think it would be really pretty. I'd use 28 weight thread, and it would be really nice. Just really loosely quilt it maybe, so that it's not so dense and it gets sort of nice and soft and drapey. Yeah, do you like that? So if I want to sew these in sort of chain piecing method, I've got the Jubilant here, and if I'm going to do this stack here, wait a minute, this is easier. Let me point to it here. So if I'm going to do like these two, I could chain piece them through here and then take them out and then add this to that one. Yeah, so let's see. I have to stand right now. Here, let me just stand up to sew on this, get it over here. So if you are at home watching this and doing some sewing while you're maybe listening, so I've got the pin on here. I am not going to pin these. I don't pin everything, and I know some people really love to pin everything, but I don't after all these years of sewing. I'm pretty comfortable with short distances. If it's a long distance, I'm not. But I'm putting the short piece on the top, and this is on the Jubilant, which is Baby Locks One of Genuine collection. There, the 4th inch is pretty accurate. I've already, here, I'll show you what I've done. Let me pull in here close. There's this really neat little tool called the Standard Seam Guide tool put out, which it's got these dots, and then you can mark for different distances, whether you're doing with a pen on fabric or on your machine to just check it. So like if I wanted to check the 4th inch, I can put that dot right there where the needle is and use the hand crank to go down and put it right in, and it's right on my 4th inch line, which is on the base of the machine. So I feel pretty good. And I know I've tested this already with my 3 squares of that test. Okay, so if I'm going to put this up here and just sew it, chain sew it, I'm standing a little sideways. So you can also sew on here without the foot pedal, but I'm pretty much a foot pedal sewing kind of person. I'm not that keen on sewing without a foot pedal, so I like it. And if it has a speed adjustment, so that if you like to go slow, like you can adjust it here. You could adjust the speed here. I'm at about, I usually just go up all the way to the top, but right now I'm down a little further, like just above the middle, higher than the middle. So when I go through all of these, I would go ahead and press them then. Whoops. Because the key, I'm going to tell you this, the key to accurate blocks is pressing and measuring to be sure that your 4th inch is correct as you are sewing units, not at the end. Somebody recently asked me for my best tip on this, and I said if you are making blocks, you want to measure them after you've sewn 2 pieces together. find the measurement in the pattern and verify you're hitting it. Because if you're not hitting that measurement, your block is going to start getting off and growing in size, and then you won't know where in the process you got your 1/4 inch seam off. So this has a needle up, needle down, so you just hit that button there on the front, which, here, let me show you that. So here's the needle up, needle down button. And if I were to unplug the foot pedal over here, see now I've got it unplugged, I could, whoops, got to put the foot pedal down. I could sew with the button, which is generally I would sew slower because that's just not what I do. I'm sewing air at the moment, but there we go. And if I put the foot pedal back in, there we have, we'd have all the control. We've got a thread cutter on the side. So there we are. These would be pressed now. And I do have the iron back there, but I didn't turn it on. So let me just show you a little finger press in for this quick. Because the deal is, you probably want to go to the dark side. And if you finger press, I don't recommend this as your go-to way, because you're not really going to get it this flat. You're not going to get it that flat. Let me move my rolling assistant over. Let me try to pull this ironing board. Whee! Let me pull the ironing board a little closer. Okay. Here we go. And I'll just turn this on. I've got the wool pressing mat over here. I've got to turn on the little mini iron. All right, so while that's heating up, I know that goes pretty fast. Okay, so while that's heating up, it only takes a second, it's pretty quick. I want to talk about sewing groups, because that's one thing that we had a discussion on in the Facebook group, in my Facebook group. And I thought it was an interesting discussion because somebody wondered, they actually wondered if they existed still, which there was a resounding yes. I think like tons of people said yes, 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 they still exist. So, you know, sewing groups are really a great way to meet people in person. It's wonderful to sew online, but sewing in person is really incredible. Okay, let me press this over here. And I am going to I'm going to go on the back side of it. I don't know if you can see it. I think you can see that some. Just get a little closer for you. Okay, so I'm on the back side. I'm just going to warm up that edge just briefly, then push it over and be sure that I get that crease done so that it's really flat. That's the thing. I want it really, really flat. I don't want any kind of lump or anything else there. So for sewing groups, if you are interested in finding a group to sew with, the best thing to do is see if you have a local quilt shop or a local fabric store or a local crafting store, and see if they're running anything like a sit and sew or something like that. The other option is to look for a local guild, and the guilds often have what they have, a bee within the guild. So the quilt bees will be a way to have a smaller group and meet. And they often meet weekly. Mine meets monthly. My group of friends, because we all have kind of varied schedules, and right now weekly doesn't work. Sometimes we meet a second time for lunch somewhere during the month. But if you're at home and you have not explored this at all, go out, because the bee won't come to you. You know, I mean, the sewing group won't come and knock on your door and invite you. You know, I wish they would, but they won't. So you have to go find them. And then what might happen is you don't find any going on. Maybe you actually don't have any kind of sewing or crafting store in your area, which is, I understand that. Maybe you don't have a quilt group that has a bee that's open, or they all are at night and you only want to go during the day. That's what happened to my mother-in-law. Madge wanted to be in a sewing group, but the guilds groups all met at night. And she wasn't going to drive at night. She retired. She just didn't want to drive at night anymore. She didn't feel comfortable. So what she did is she went to her church and she put up a sign. And she said, I'll teach you to quilt. And she did. And she did that 25 years ago. And they have done amazing work. They do charity work. They're friends for life. My group has been together for eons. I mean, it's almost since I started quilting, my group has been together. And members change, some move, some come back, but ultimately there's a few of us that meet in person still that were in the original group. I think just 2 of us that are from the original group that still meet in person. But we have added new people. The thing is, maybe you don't have a church, or you don't you don't go regularly enough there to feel comfortable doing that. Well, go to your library. Go to your community center, find out if you have a senior center. Look for a community type environment where you can put up, talk to them and ask them if you could put up a notice, if you could look to start a group. And here's the thing, don't limit it to just quilters, and don't limit it to people who just want to learn. Because the fabulous thing is that people who make things love to come and hang out, and you can talk and chat with them. Like, people who knit, crochet, embroider, cross stitch, do wool, all of these are the kind of community and people that will come to meet on some kind of regular basis, because they love to sit and have friends and have the camaraderie and the community. And they make, and you all make stuff. So you have this common way of talking and understanding each other that non-makers don't have. And that's really important. That's the important key. Like my group, we have somebody who does mixed media, somebody does scrapbooking, several of the people knit. We're not bringing a machine to generally to where we meet. We meet in a grocery store. Okay, so it's like it's the eating area of a grocery store, which allows all kinds of community groups to meet there. We see a chess group meeting next to us. We've seen the board of woodworkers. There's book clubs that meet in there. So things are going on. There are places in your community that have a room. Your government centers might have a community room you can use. But the key is to put the word out there that you are starting this up. And if you feel like you can't start it up, blah, 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 just do it. Just do it. Stop thinking about how hard it is, because it's not hard, and you don't have to run anything. You don't have to organize. You just put up a sign, and people will come. You just get the word out, though, because remember, they're not going to knock on your door and find you. You have to get out of the house and put a little muscle into it, and elbow grease. But it's worth it. It is worth every single little bit of time and effort that you do to make it happen. You will get paid back in friendship 3,000-fold, and it's an amazing experience. So you have to do it. Okay? So if you're out there wishing you had something, my challenge to you this week is to find the location. Okay? So what you do is find that place this week where you could have something, or something might already be going on. All right? So I've just started. I'm so excited. I've started. I want to make this quilt so badly. This has been fun. I miss talking to you. If you have not joined me at Facebook, it's Quilt Along with Pat Sloan. My website is patsloan.com, where you can find everything. In a couple of days, I will announce the next Wednesday sew along, and be sure you signed up here for my videos to get announcements, because it's important that you don't miss them, right? I'm Pat Sloan. Thank you so much. See you online.